Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adrian Ramos, and I am the program specialist for AARP Maryland. And today, this morning, we have one of our rock star volunteers, Miss Cheryl Streeter, to be our August volunteer spotlight. How's it going today, Cheryl?
It's a great day. Great day. Hot, but still a really good day.
Yes, very hot. But I agree with that. Yeah, it's kind of the last little bit of summer, isn't it?
Yes,
hmm
yes.
hmm Yeah, but it's okay. I'm kind of excited for the fall. I'm ready for it to cool down a little bit.
That's my favorite season is fall and spring where you have that even temperature.
Me too. Me too. I like that too. That's like the hoodie and shorts weather. That's what I
Yay!
look for. Yeah, exactly. So sure, we wanted to kind of highlight you a little bit. Just so people at home can kind of get to know you a little bit. Can you obviously introduce yourself a little bit, like say your name and any volunteer titles slash roles you hold with AARP Maryland?
Okay. My name is Cheryl Streeter. I am a volunteer with the AARP Maryland and also with AARP National Capital, the Capitol Hill Strike Forces. But here in Maryland, I am a part of the Speakers Bureau. We are implementing a faith-based connection also where AARP Maryland is working with some of the communities and churches in the faith-based community. There are several
Mm-hmm.
different topics that I speak to either virtually now that we are in the COVID environment, but originally I would go out to actual communities and actually speak about the different topics such as aging, uh, how to equip your home so that you can age in place,
Mm-hmm.
different things regarding how to live after the loss of whether it's employment, a loved one. I also help with advocacy. I go to the Maryland State House during its open session, and there we talk to our legislative committees, the delegates, as well as the representatives there, the senators there, to advocate on behalf of those issues that are important to people over age 50, whether it's the price of prescription drugs or scams that are facing the aging and being able to have their homes not the great taxes, the increase in taxes that are affecting the seniors, just any topics that are affecting us. And that part I really enjoy doing.
That sounds great. That sounds awesome. It's it's really important work. The work that the Speakers Bureau does, and also the Capitol Hill Task Force, and everything that you're involved in. Because honestly, you know, there are plenty of people gunning for higher prescription drug prices, but it feels good to hear that you guys are out there, looking to lower the prescription drug prices, looking to make sure that people can age in place should they want to, and these are all things that should be fundamental rights for us as we age. And I think that's great.
Exactly. Even the
Mhm.
nursing homes, making certain that the rules and regulations regarding them are upheld.
Mhm.
Those went lax for a few years. And so AARP Maryland,
Mhm.
stepped up to the plate and we went before the legislature to say, hey, we must continue to monitor what's happening in the nursing homes because these are very vulnerable citizens that are there and we have to look
Mhm.
out for them.
100%. Because if we don't, then nobody else will.
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. I like that work that you guys are doing. That's awesome. It's much needed. Um. So so I have a follow up question, and this is so before you put on your AARP hats, what did you do before you started volunteering with AARP Maryland?
Oh, wow. Up
Mhm.
until 2009, I was employed with the government. I
Mhm.
actually was a senior executive with the Postal Service. I worked in sales and marketing there. And it
Awesome.
was my position to do the hiring, recruiting, training for the sales force or the commercial sales force that
Mhm.
actually works with the Fortune 500 companies. And
Cool.
I'm also a pastor's wife. So I
Awesome.
was very active and still am very active in the community and with my church. I'm
Mhm.
a part of several social groups and I do a lot of volunteer work in the community, whether it's gathering clothing for those who need clothing, food, and helping to find housing for those who are, especially single mothers. I have a passion for single mothers and seniors.
Mhm.
So I've done quite a bit, but I worked for. many years locating across the country, and that's how I actually ended up here. My
Hmm.
job relocated me here from Houston, Texas, which is my home.
Oh, nice.
I'm
Wow.
a Texan.
Yeah, you're a Texan. Yeah. So wait, so does that mean that you're a Texans fan too?
Texan fan, Cowboy fan. So it's
Good.
really interesting being a Cowboy fan in this area, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah. The Ravens are a little too close. That's awesome though. So that wow, that I didn't know that you were in government. That's really cool.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. Um. So and then you said that you did that up until about 2009.
I retired in 2009 after
Okay.
34 years of service. Yes.
Wow. That's awesome. And would you say so? Right around that time is when you started volunteering with AARP, or did you give it a few years?
No, actually, when I retired, there were several of us that retired, and one of the persons, Charles Talley,
Hmm.
started volunteering for AARP, and he really enjoyed it. And he had a couple of us to come on board and help him. At the time, we were working with the part of the AARP where you help those over the age of 50 who've been displaced in the employment to find employment. We worked on their resumes and helped them with interviewing skills and
Hmm.
guide them toward how to get employed again. And we know that sometimes those who are seniors are not the first ones that are hired. And so you
Hmm.
really have to sell yourself differently. And I enjoyed
Right.
doing that. And I was just working with him maybe a couple of times a month. And then I started really enjoying it and I got more involved with it. And then he started telling me that, well, there's a Capitol Hill strike force, and then you can get involved with their state where you are, because he was in DC and I was in Maryland. And
Hmm.
so I just got more involved. The more I worked with AARP, the more I really liked it and the more I saw that they were involved in. It's so
Hmm.
many different facets of it that people don't realize how many different things you can do. How what the reach is of the AARP. There's just so much that they're doing. So I got
Right.
involved and I've been just connected ever since.
Good. And we're glad to have you. You know, you've been a amazing volunteer. You bring so much to the table, and you're honestly one of our volunteer leaders. You know, you do it all. You do like AARP volunteering is not the only thing that you do in the community. So people know you, people like you, which is huge. And yeah, it's
I
really
enjoy
it's
it.
important. It's important. Yeah. So kind of following up on that, and in combination to what you mentioned about the Speakers Bureau, do you have anything to recommend? First of all, do you want to tell people what the Speakers Bureau is?
The Speakers Bureau is a group of volunteers who have committed themselves to go out and share information on topics that are important to senior citizens, the senior residents of our state.
Hmm.
And the various topics, there are some that we provide because we know the information is needed, such as frauds and scams, information for our military vets about services and resources that are available for them, ways to be safe in your homes and safe on the street, livable communities, what to look for, and how to help your local law enforcement to make your area and your community safe for seniors as well as for the children. They're just topics that we know we need to share, but then our community can give us topics that they're interested in, and we will gather and develop presentations that we can share with the community at large. And so at the
Hmm.
Speakers Bureau, when requests come in that they'd like someone to come and speak to them on a particular topic, then the Speakers Bureau will appoint one of us to actually go and do that presentation. We create the presentations, we update them as information changes and as we gather more information. And it's just really good to help wherever you can. And with the Speakers Bureau, that's a great link to the community directly,
Hmm.
sharing what they need, hearing from them what's happening, so it keeps us abreast of what's happening in the community and where the real needs are.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really great. And so then, in that same line of thought, though, do you have anything to recommend to people that are thinking of pursuing something like the Speakers Bureau or like a different sort of like volunteer leadership role within AARP?
Oh, wow, yes. In the Speakers Bureau,
Hmm.
if you think about it, all of us like to talk to our friends. We talk to
Right.
our family all the time. And sometimes what we're sharing may not be accurate information.
Hmm.
So, one sure way to make certain that you know the best information for your senior family members, for your church members, for those in the community, is to get involved with the AARP. where you get the latest and greatest information and you can share it. And if you're sharing it with your families and friends anyway, why not share it with the greater community? There's
Exactly.
always a need for someone to reach out across the community to share information. And let's face it, the over 50 population is the greater part of our population right now. We
Hmm.
boomers have taken over.
Yes, yeah. Agreed. Agreed. And in that, sorry, go ahead.
And I always tell the young people, hey, you better take care of us because you're going to end up taking care of us if you
Hmm.
don't help us to take care of ourselves long term. So if
100%.
you're young or old, you can come volunteer with the AARP.
Yeah, and honestly, it's stuff that we should all care about. You know, a lot of the stuff that you guys
Yes,
are talking about in the Speakers Bureau and advocating for at, in the Capitol, it's like stuff that like Social Security definitely needs to be around for when we're all, like older,
exactly.
and like things like, and then nursing homes need to be safer. Like these are all things that the pandemic has honestly exposed that like
Yes,
needs to make sure that it's solvent, because if
right.
not, then sorry, go ahead.
Now, one of the newer things that we have in AARP is the livable communities.
Hmm.
And people really didn't think of that before, but when the pandemic hit and everyone was stuck at home, you really got a chance to look at your house and what needs to be done there so you can remain there long term, as
Hmm.
well as your community. Do you have the type sidewalks that you need? Do you have parks and playgrounds nearby for the children? Uh, are there areas that need to be cleaned up? Are you talking to your local uh, political officials, your elected officials about things that are going on in your community? The
Exactly.
pandemic, although it was hard on many of us, it was also helpful in that it slowed us down long enough to see what's happening around us and how can we
Hmm.
make a difference? What do we need to do?
I agree with that. 100%. And once we made that list, and now it's just time to do. It's
On it.
like, yeah, exactly. What you said about the sidewalks is like, is it stroller accessible? Is it walker accessible? Is it wheelchair
Exactly.
accessible? These are all things that make a community. It's not. It's
And think about the seniors who are walking with walkers and canes. You can't have a lot of cracks in your sidewalk and crumbling areas there because they
Mhm.
can trip and hurt themselves. And yet they need to get out and do exercise. Everyone's not
Right.
going to a gym. A walk through your
Mhm.
community is some of the best exercise out there for you.
Exactly. Exactly. Regardless of your age.
Yes,
Hmm.
definitely.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for telling us more about the Speakers Bureau and the work that we're doing. I just have a few more questions for you, Cheryl, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. So I have one more question. It's kind of fun. You don't have to choose just one, but the question is, what has been your favorite AARP volunteer experience slash memory?
Oh, wow. Hmm.
You don't have to choose just one though, but if you have one in
Okay,
mind.
because I have several.
Hmm.
I was able to go to the Maryland State House, and I was actually able to testify in one of the hearings, one of the subcommittee hearings. And we were talking then about the prices of prescription drugs. And for in my household, for example, my husband is diabetic, and
Hmm.
we have good health care, fortunately. But when I look at what the price would have been had I not had the health care, and I think about so many seniors that are out there that do not have adequate health care, I felt really proud that I was able to talk to them to talk about, we need to do something about the price of prescription drugs and
Hmm.
to do more about talking to all of our citizens about eating healthy, exercising, keeping our bodies and minds, healthy. And that's
Exactly.
something else that we talk about with the speaker, healthy eating and healthy living. And so that's one of the memories that come to mind because that hit personally. And I
Hmm.
have family members who have cancer, and the cost of cancer treatment is so expensive as well. So
Hmm.
anytime I can do anything that I know and have a direct connection where I know I've helped somebody,
Yeah.
those I really like. But there have been some fun times too
Hmm.
when we were packing boxes of food
Hmm.
on the mall. I think
Hmm.
all of the volunteers throughout the area was there,
Hmm.
and it was like just hundreds and hundreds of volunteers, and it was a good feeling that hey, all of these red shirts from AARP are together, and we could
Hmm.
have been at home instead of on this hot day packing food, but it
Right.
felt good to see everyone just so. happy about being there to help. Uh,
Hmm.
AARP is really, you can tell I really like them, right?
Yeah, yeah, I can tell. Yeah, but and that's good though. I like it too.
Yeah, they're
Hmm.
really good, and you see instant. Sometimes you can see the instant success and benefit that you have and the impact that you have, and other times it's going to take some time for, like, for
Hmm.
example, for legislation to go through. It may take several years for it actually to pass,
Right.
but we stay at it. We
Hmm.
stay on the job doing it.
Right. Yeah. Vigilance and resilience. I think those are two
Yes.
things that, yeah, are definitely something that volunteers have to have. And like you said, I think that both the fun memory and the memory that you said that anytime that you get to connect and see the direct impact that you're making, like that is all revolving around like meaningful work, and like within the professional and also within the volunteer scope, like AARP is always looking to do stuff that is meaningful. I can never
Yes.
think of an event that has been a waste. Either we're celebrating the volunteers or the
Exactly.
volunteers are getting together, yeah, are getting together and do some great work. So I think
Right.
that you hit the nail on the head right there.
Now,
Um,
you mentioned something too just then. You said they celebrate the volunteers.
mhm,
That's also something that I've really enjoyed. The fact that they do celebrate the volunteers and thank them for their work. And when we
mhm,
all get together to do that, you hear about other things that are happening in AARP Maryland that you may not have been known about.
mhm,
And then it just really gives me greater pride because it's like, wow, there's a section in all the different counties throughout Maryland, not
mhm,
just here in the metropolitan area that's near DC,
mhm.
but in William County, Frederick County, Carroll County, all
Mhm.
of the different counties, you
Howard
just
County.
see all of the
Mhm.
work that they're doing. Eastern
Exactly.
Shore,
Mhm.
everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's kind of nuts to realize how robust it is, honestly. Like
Yes.
that's something that I was always amazed about, because anytime I'm like, okay, cool, this is like our main focus today, and this took a lot of work to bring together,
Mhm.
and then you have five other chapters that are exactly like that, doing very like hard but like meaningful work to like make a
Yes.
difference, and it's like really
Yes.
cool to kind of see it all, because many small changes can create a really big change. So I think it's cool to kind of
Exactly.
see that.
And whether
Hmm.
it's the urban community or the rural community, we adapt and help whatever the need is in that community. It's really great. Really
Hmm.
great.
I agree. I agree. Okay, so one last question, Cheryl, if I can. So what would you tell someone who's interested in volunteering with AARP, but's kind of on the fence about how they can contribute, like even despite the pandemic and the state of coronavirus and stuff like that?
I would tell them to contact AARP Maryland, and one
Hmm.
of the volunteers, we now have volunteer mentors,
Hmm.
and we can talk to you about our experiences. We can talk to you about what your experience or skill or talent or interest is, and we can help you find a fit. I bet there's a fit somewhere because there's just so much of a varied array of things that we cover.
Hmm.
And you don't have to make a lifetime commitment to it. Try it and see. Go
Hmm.
to one of the programs, listen in on one of the Zoom presentations, try it and see how it's done. Meet the people and
Hmm.
the residents, and you'll see how grateful they are that we're there to help them. And
Hmm.
I bet you'll see that it's something that you want to do.
I agree. I agree. I think that there's something for everyone in AARP Maryland.
Yes.
Hmm. And even if it's just virtual, I think that from the comfort of your own home, you get to make a difference in your community. I think that's a pretty good. It's a pretty good sell.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you meet so many people that you wouldn't ordinarily meet. And
Exactly.
even in doing so, we've learned so much more about technology, even.
Hmm.
It is so great seeing some of the really senior people on, and they're
I agree.
enjoying the Zoom meeting. And if you think about it, some of them live alone. And so
Hmm.
this is an opportunity for them to really connect with someone. So they really look forward to it. And
100%.
some have created friendships from it.
Hmm.
So I would recommend that they definitely volunteer, come out, uh,
Hmm.
go to our website, and you can see some of the things that we're working on, and contact us through the website, for example, and you'll find that you have a place there.